That might be easier. And then if I put you on this side, and then we can see Facebook, Insta, YouTube. Then we can see Hey Sri, Hey Mana on Insta as well. So the idea behind this one little today is talk a little bit about getting your frameworks in the right way. Whether you're on LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, whether you're on YouTube, we're not on TikTok today, it doesn't seem to be working. Understanding where we are and a framework to come out of that, to go from where we are now to where we want to be, is a hard one to navigate for a lot of people. And here's the main reason why. No one out there purposely does the wrong thing. No one wakes up and goes, I'm going to do a crappy job today. No one wakes up and says, I'm going to suck at this. What we end up doing over time is we keep looking at, I think this is the best way to do it. So we do that over time. And eventually we're so vested in spending time and effort at doing this one thing, we often become a little bit blinkered on whether it's as effective as it could actually be. And what we're trying to do in business, as I talk about all the time, is we're trying to increase flow and we're trying to remove the resistance from within that sales process. And I want to share a little bit about how that works with what we do. I'm going to try and get us onto a little spread here, which you're not going to be able to see if you're over on LinkedIn. Sorry about that. But Instagram people, let's turn this around and I might be able to actually show you firsthand a little bit more about the way this looks. Let's see if this will work this way around. And the main reason we're doing this is we might start doing some, we might start doing a weekly Zoom meeting where we actually talk about specific areas within the business that can actually get you moving forward a little bit more, and get you away from a lot of the pain that you're looking at in a moment within the business itself. This is a little bit cowboy today, but I want people to understand that a lot of the stuff we're doing, it's not just about having these clear, pleasant presentations that look so pretty and look so slick. A lot of the time we need to be faster in our actions and understand exactly what we're doing. And that's why we want to make sure that we're doing it in this way for now. So the idea behind this is what we're trying to work out is how do we increase in the different areas within our business. And what happens with a lot of people, if you imagine it, LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook, imagine if we've got all of our, if we've got all of our prospects lined up in a big circle, and you've got them but are all outside the gates, we've got to attract those people in to making our sales. We've got to attract these people in to our businesses. And it's not just as simple as do one thing, say a magic word, and magically it's going to go through. What we're trying to do is work out what's the most effective way. And there's different ways for different people. Some people will be outreach cold calling. Most people out there now are doing a handful of things. They're utilizing maybe social media, your phone, email, maybe paid advertising. And the whole thing behind this is going, okay, so what is it we're actually doing right now? Why are we doing it in that way? And what are the metrics behind it? Then we've got to go, okay, so if we were going to change and do something different, how quick is it going to be for that to go effective? What is the likelihood of success? And how can we remove the risk from within the different areas we're involved with? Now, with anything that's out there, there's going to be a right way and a wrong way to do things. As we said earlier, no one intentionally is going off and doing things in the wrong way. But the vast majority of things done are not as effective. And here's what I mean. You could be on a path within your business, right? And you could be doing a certain thing in a certain way over a certain point and actually think This is working really well. But compared to what? Compared to having no results, compared to having some results, it's really hard for people to know. And what people end up doing, they end up doing the same thing over and over again on the hamster wheel, thinking that magically things are just going to get better. Magically, because we put some effort in, we should automatically get those results. And it just doesn't work that way. And this is why so many people out there, they end up with one of four things: low results, a high effort, we limit the ability to actually grow, and then we end up with a frustration, and almost we become begrudging for doing the things that we're doing right now, because we were focused on the result, not on getting the process right in the right way. And this is why so many people within their businesses end up either actually giving up, settling for what they've got, and they don't try and move forward. But then there is a better way that you can do this as well. You can quite easily be going off and changing what you're doing, looking at the comparables, the data of your competitors, other people in the industry, and finding out there's better ways. And now what that ends up doing is it ends up nurturing rather than just straight pitching your product or your service. And too many people out there are in such a rush to get that first deal in, they're not nurturing the people in the right way. And then you get people starting too quick, and then you end up with cancellations, people reneging on deals, and whatever that might be. And what we want to see more people doing in the nicest way is we want to see people breaking it down. One of the 5 areas we talk to people about at the moment is, number one, most people out there talk to a problem. And most people out there that are entrepreneurs, coaches, consultants, salespeople, sales leaders, as soon as we ask that question, we try and lead them down the path to our product. And what most people do is they go one level down, find a bit of a pain point, and then they try and anchor into that and then compare the feature, pivot, benefit, and all of that stuff. And that's where the problem comes from. But when we can talk to the problems on 2-3 levels down, when we can find the emotional barriers, emotional blocks that our buyers actually have, it becomes far easier for us to have that conversation and for them to then emotionally move themselves, which then you can prove how you help, and you can pull those people into your business, into a buying situation without them feeling pressured, which is important. It also enables us to then start developing better relationships, giving fast victories to prove ourselves as an expert in our field. And that gives us the ability to grow. Now, what we've been doing is we work on 4 main areas, and each one of these areas on their own can be pretty effective. But the problem being for most people is they've sort of got a number of these things in the right way, and they sort of haven't. So first and foremost, most people in the systems that they've got, and I don't mean necessarily one big system, but the systems that they use to generate their business and get things moving and nurture, etc., are actually out of date. They were bolted on as they went, a bit of a Frankenstein mess to get things moving, but that got you to where you are now. And a lot of the time, that's almost a bit of an anchor to hold us back from progressing to that next stage. Then we look at where people are within the business, and then they end up looking at the processes that they're actually using. Again, a lot of the processes were used to get to the stage they're at now, but they're not able to actually, again, act as a barrier within that business to get it to that next stage. And then with a lot of people, they inherently have brought in the frameworks within the business that they actually had in previous companies, an earlier time when you were in a job and you set it up or you brought this in. And a lot of those frameworks, along with the skills themselves, are generationally passed down. So you end up with a lot of the frameworks and a lot of the skills that people have are things that have just been inherited from a generation before and generation before and generation before. And the problem being that we're using the same stuff, but the buyers over the time have veered off and become, thankfully, smarter, wiser than before. They use a lot more tech, and it enables them to make better buying decisions. But it also means they're also getting pitched by a lot of people out there. So what we're trying to then do is get things to a better stage at between before, from the systems, the processes, the frameworks, and the skills, but you can move forward within the business. And here's the big question I say to everyone out there is, where you are with the business right now is where you are. Whatever your growth is, whatever your results are, it is what it is. You get what you get, and you do what you do. But if you want to get things to the next stage, a lot of the time, the stuff that needs to happen has to be a bit more dramatic, has to be more effective, has to be more long-term thinking. And if it was a plan that we already had, we'd already be doing it. If it was something you already believed in, you'd already be doing it. If it was a way of doing things more effectively than they are right now, and you believed it, we'd already be doing it. So a lot of the time, even if some of the stuff you've heard about before could be the answer, because we tried it ineffectively, we then put it off and we don't do it anymore. And that means you end up missing out. So what we're looking to be able to do is find a handful of companies that want to have a look at it. We've set up a number of, each from a systems, processes, frameworks, and skills to give to a few companies to prove it. Because like we said earlier, if we can prove that we're an expert and help you prove that you're an expert, it makes your life far easier with your conversions. If that is something of interest, whether you're on Insta, Facebook, YouTube, LinkedIn, just drop me a message with the word framework, and we'll send you over a bit of info on how that can work within your business, and see how it goes. If you get any questions, again, reach out. We're happy to help, and I'll see you on the next video.